Morning. So it's Maria from Health Coach Maria here. So this morning I want to talk to you about the one food that as a health coach I would recommend that you avoid. Now, you might be thinking there's only one food that you're telling me to avoid, and yeah, that's true. Okay. There's a massive misconception out there that health coaches are going to tell you what to eat, and I really want to blow that myth out of the water today, because that's not true. Okay, I will never tell any of my clients what not to eat. Okay, I'll sometimes tell them what they should be eating or what will be good for them, but I will never ever tell a client don't eat ABC. Okay, because it's about you making your own choices to empower yourself and not being parented as such. So yeah, now there is only one food that I would ask you to avoid. It's actually quite hard not to eat it because it is snuck into a lot of things, which I'm going to talk about in this video. So I'm going to talk about what the food is, and I'm going to give you 3 really easy steps on how to avoid it and how to cut it out. And I'm also going to talk to you about why we need to avoid it, like why is it so important to avoid. So yeah, okay, so the first thing that I want to look at is the fact that I'm not going to tell you to go off certain foods. So a lot of people say, oh, I don't want a health coach because, they're going to tell me to give up alcohol, and I like having my glass of wine, or I like having my blowout, night outs, or, I like my coffee, or I like my sugar. No, I drink coffee, I drink alcohol, I have sugar. Okay, so no, okay, I'm never going to tell you to stop eating or drinking things that you've chosen to do. Okay, when you work with a health coach, it's about achieving what you want, not what the health coach wants. So like if you're working with a health coach and they've got their own agenda, then that's not good. Okay, you need to work with a health coach that wants to achieve what you want to achieve, because that's all that matters when you're working with them. So back to the one food that we want to avoid, okay? Now, that one food that we need to avoid is what we call trans fats, okay? Now, you may have heard of it, you may never have heard of it. I'm not going to make this a big sciencey lesson, but I'll just give you a really small snapshot, really brief kind of description of what trans fats are. So we've got 2 main types of fats. We've got our saturated fats, which are solid at room temperature, which tends to be our butters. And then we've got our unsaturated fats, which are liquid at room temperatures, which would be typically our oils. Now, a lot of us know that like our unsaturated fats are better for us. They're better to reduce our cholesterol, and cholesterol is that sticky substance that blocks our arteries and that can give us heart attacks, which is actually the #1 cause of death in the whole world. Okay, so if you think you're going to get killed by a zombie or something like that, it being Halloween, it's not going to happen. All right, you're so likely. For the main cause of death is heart attacks, okay, and that's across the whole world, okay. It's miles above any other form of car accidents, anything like that, okay, like the things that people worry about. But it's actually heart attacks is the #1 reason causing of death, and people are worried about homicide or something, and it's like, no, worry about what you're eating. So this advice that I'm going to give you today, you guys, is really, really want to help you. If you want to protect yourself and you want to look after yourself and extend the longevity of your life, then these 3 tips that I'm going to give you on how to cut out trans fats are really going to help you to do that. So back to my sciencey bit. So we've got saturated fats and unsaturated fat. Now, in the 70s, fats were just arch enemy #1. Everyone was giving them a hard time because they were linked to why we were getting heart attacks in the first place. So saturated fats kind of got asked to cut out. So they invented trans fats. So trans fats are actually a chemical alteration of a saturated fat, where when a fat is saturated, it means it's got all its hydrogen molecules on there. And when it's unsaturated, it's missing a few. Now, what they managed to do chemically in a laboratory to make trans fats is they managed to alter the chemical molecule makeup of a fatty acid, and they managed to have what looks like a saturated fat. So it's hard, but apparently has the properties of an unsaturated fat, and that's margarine. Okay, that's what we know it quite commonly as is margarine. So this was a fantastic invention. They're like, wow, so we've got this hard, it's still hard. We can use it to make all our biscuits, cakes, and we can spread it on our on our breads and all that. So it's still hard. And the other thing it does is it extends shelf life of food, which is really important for food manufacturers when they can put food on the shelves for years on end, whereas butter will go off a lot faster. So that was a huge invention. So it's absolutely popped and it's been really, really popular. Now, obviously in hindsight, we can see that actual trans fats are really, really bad. Okay, sorry to be carrier of bad news, but they are actually linked to, they don't help your cholesterol. They have the exact same properties as butter. Okay, so don't feel like you're doing yourself any favor by having these kind of low fat imitation butter spreads, because you're not doing yourself any favors at all. It's the exact same thing as you having butter, but it's got two other additional negative sides to it. It's the fact it's increasing your cholesterol, so it's still going to give you that heart attack. Also, it's been linked to cancers and it's being linked to Alzheimer's. Okay, now the food companies are really good at hiding this kind of stuff, okay, because it's not within their interest for this product to be taken off the shelves. New York and the state of New York recently cut it down in all its eateries or its external restaurants, which was amazing. I'm so impressed that they managed to bulldoze this and actually get the ball rolling on it. And they've seen a 6% decrease in heart attacks and strokes in the state of New York alone, which is phenomenal. And as a result of that happening, they have now decided to put a total ban on trans fats from 2018 on. Now, I've looked at New Zealand law, and New Zealand law is doing nothing about trans fats. It doesn't even write it in its foods. It's not even on the packaging. Whereas in America, it's over a certain percent, a very small percent, it has to be on the nutritional analysis. That is not the case here in New Zealand. I haven't looked at it for European law. I think it's on there as well. I don't think it's on there as well, and I don't think they're doing any major shifts in it. Denmark is pretty onto it. That's a country that's pretty onto it. But I believe you guys, I believe there's going to be a time where we look back in 20 years time, we're going to go, oh my God, I can't believe I gave my kids trans fats. Like, I can't believe I used to smoke in front of my kids. Like, think back to the 50s. And that wasn't unusual to smoke beside a baby. Okay, now if you did that, you would look so just ridiculous. You would look so inappropriate. Whereas this is just kind of starting to come out now, this kind of news about trans fats. All right, so now you know what they are. What's happened to them, like chemically they've been altered in a laboratory, and the latest news about how they can affect Alzheimer's and cancers and definitely contribute to heart attacks. Okay, how can you cut them out of your diet? All right, so I'm going to give you 3 really easy steps. Okay, 1, if you use any kind of butter replacement for your sandwiches, your crackers, whatever you put butter on, if you put butter on your veggies, or now I'm not going to start naming brands here because that's not cool. So yeah, I'm just talking about, it's not butter, okay? And it's hard, okay? It's a trans fat, okay? So that's your number 1 thing. Get rid of it. Get it out of the fridge. Get your butter back, okay? Butter's fine, okay? Butter is absolutely fine. It's a bit more expensive at the moment, but trust me, it's fine. So get your butter back, okay? Second thing, okay, if you can just do that 1 step, that's huge, okay? So you don't have to do the second or third step, but do try and do the first step, okay? Now, if you've done that step and you find that really easy and you want to know about step 2 is to start looking. So when you look at food packaging, okay, what you're looking for is hydrogenized oils, okay? Hydrogenized vegetable oils are partially hydrogenized, that's hard to say, partially hydrogenized vegetable oils. Okay, so that's what you're looking for on your ingredient list, okay? Because it's not in nutritional analysis, and they sure as hell ain't going to write it on the front of the pack, okay? They're probably going to write something like free from saturated fat, which is technically true, but not really. Yeah, so have a look at the packaging. Now, what packaging are you going to find it in? You're going to find it on kind of cookies and biscuits and cakes that can sit on the shelf for a long time. So not necessarily fresh ones, but ones that have got a decent shelf life, okay? Microwave popcorn, that's another one. It's normally in microwave popcorn because microwave popcorn can hang around in the pantry for like 3 years. I know, because I found a microwave popcorn that was like 3 years old and it was still in date. Yeah, so cut those, look for them on food products, and just try and cut down on them. Okay, now the last step is to look at if you like your fried food or your fast foods, okay? Good news, all right? Like a lot of the big companies like McDonald's, Hungry Jack's or Burger King, all of them, they've actually switched. So most of their frying oils is not hydrogenized oils anymore. So that's great. So wow, I'm not telling you to eat those foods, but I'm telling you there's no trans fats in them because they've made that change, which is fantastic. But there's an awful lot of other fried food businesses out there that haven't done it. So maybe your local fish and chip shop, ask them what aisles they're frying their food in. Okay, if they're not telling you, if they're slow to tell you, then they don't even know. So the chances are they're picking the cheapest one possible, which is definitely going to be a trans fat. All right, so that's the 3 steps, you guys, just to wrap it up. Okay, cut that imitation butter out of your fridge. Okay, that's the only thing I want you to do. If you've done that, then you can start looking at ingredient lists when it comes to those kind of cakes and bickies kind of food. And then the third one is to inquire about your local fish and chip shop, like what kind of oils are they using. All right, now you might think, oh look, it's not doing me any harm. Trust me, it is. Okay, it actually is. It's harming you and it's harming your family. All right, now number 1 cause of death is heart attack in this country and in almost every developed country. Okay, so if you're thinking about what ways that I'm going to go, at the moment, statistics are saying that. Okay, so unless you change something up, you're going to join that statistic. Thanks, guys. Bye.